I got to talk about your background as not only an athlete, scholar, author, but coach. So I'll start off with athlete, big time college player, go play professionally in the CBA as well as overseas. Then you go back to Purdue where you had your undergrad, play there, but you come back for your PhD in American history. You are a teacher there in the history and cinema and digital media departments. And then you go to coaching and teaching. You taught at DePaul and then coached at a high school. Just describe kind of that journey. And I feel like that's such a cool journey.
Well, I appreciate that. I love basketball and I love history and writing. So really, I really strove to see if I could put my passions into my work. And fortunately, I've been able to do that. So when I was playing in the CBA or Australia, I went to Estonia. Most people only know Estonia because Brandon Fraser in Encino Man emerges from that long period of whatever. I don't know. Was he hibernating? Something. And he comes up from Estonia. But anyway, it was a great experience there. And then in the CBA for a few years. But during that time, I kept working on my PhD in history, doing coursework and doing research. In fact, in Estonia, I would have some teammates who spoke Russian help me translate articles from Estonian libraries from the Cold War era about Olympic basketball, because that was my dissertation. So I just tried to connect basketball and history whenever I could. And like I say, even what I wrote about was the history of American Olympic basketball. So I've just tried to put those passions together. And like I say, thankfully, I've been able to do that.
Was that kind of the dream? Was it to be a basketball player? Was it to be a teacher or a coach? Or was it just trying to find something with all those passions?
I was kind of looking for the Steve Nash career. That was a high goal. And then if I couldn't do that, I was going to be a historian. That was my focus, and I taught at DePaul in their history and cinema and digital media departments for 6 years, and I loved it. But I started coaching at my alma mater high school, which is in Northwest Indiana, right near Chicago. You know, DePaul is the nation's largest Catholic university. So I coached at a Catholic high school and loved that Andrean, where I also went. And then I got the opportunity to coach at Carroll College, a Catholic college in Helena, Montana. And I taught a little bit there. And so I kind of shifted. I remember my wife and I, we have 6 children, and at that time we probably had 4. And I remember saying, like, I think I want to coach full-time, and because I was teaching, and she kind of was like, oh, that sounds good. But I don't think she took it all that seriously. But then a few months later, I was like, hey, we got a shot out in Montana. So we had visited there, but we really didn't know a lot about Montana, so that was quite an adventure.
So that's when you took coaching full-time and kind of stopped teaching, I'm guessing?
Yep. And then about 5 years after that, I got the opportunity to coach here. And again, another incredible Catholic institution of higher education. So grateful to be here. It's a beautiful campus. It's got an incredible mission. And, of course, the sisters, who are the heart of our school, to just be a small part of their story through the basketball program here is just awesome.
What is it about coaching? I see people walking in, your
yeah,
families walking in, and so what
now
is
we have
it?
a crowd. See, when
I
my
know.
family comes, now we have a crowd.
Hey,
we got 8.
We got a party now, you know?
Yeah.
What is it about the coaching, teaching aspect of younger men as well as kind of the kids? You're kind of helping them grow. What is it about that kind of livelihood that you love so much?
Well, it's really fun to see if you can have a positive influence, to see to engage in a collective effort to become the best team you can, and in the process, hopefully grow as people and students and members of the community. I mean, we have incredible student athletes like Josh Morgan is the returning student athlete of the year. in the Southland Conference. He's uh, goals are to become a lawyer and a prosecutor, and he's well on his way. We have environmental science major, engineering major, several business majors, multiple kinesiology majors, so maybe some future doctorate physical therapists. And of course, when you look at the graduate school profile of Incarnate Word, it's incredible. I don't know if a lot of people fully realize we have a full-fledged medical school, optometry, pharmacy, doctorate level athletic training and physical therapy, and nurse practitioner up to the doctorate level. And obviously our business school and our MBA program and all kinds of great graduate programming to go along with over 90 undergraduate majors. So just to be involved in the lives of young adults, trying to build the best unit we can together, and then also be a part of their development as young men and students. It's invigorating, so I'm very grateful to have that opportunity.
Well, we've seen your impact here at UIW, not on just on the court, but off the court. You kind of mentioned kind of the multitude of majors these players are studying, but even what they're doing inside the like out in the community as well as inside the classroom. I mean, you're touted as one of the top GPA teams in the nation. You had your first 1,000 ARP or APR.
Yeah. Well,
And
we actually got our second 1,000 APR certified by the NCAA just the other day. So
what?
that's exciting.
What does that
Well,
stand for?
basically every year the NCAA gives you a score. The most you can get is 1,000, and it's based on a somewhat nuanced formula, but it essentially tries to look at a player's GPA, their retention, or where their next school is, and also their progress to degree. So you get scored, each player gets scored based on the points that they can accumulate in those categories. And if you get 1,000, that means you got the most points possible for a Division I basketball team. So we did that again. It's the second 1,000 in the history of our program, and we're thrilled. And I think it gets a little overlooked, but there is a direct correlation between lifetime earnings and your GPA in college. And it's been studied by many economic, think tanks, if you will, and that's very clear. So we feel like these young men are setting themselves up for long-term success, and that's really exciting.
That's so cool, as well as just the fact that, like we were saying, community service. I mean, despite the COVID year, during COVID, y'all had over 300 hours of community service, like whether it been in person or virtual. So how important is it when you're recruiting not to just sell them on the basketball part, but the community service as well as what they're getting in their education at UIW?
I mean, we put a huge stress on it. Obviously, the sisters have set an incredible mission and kind of spirit of the institution. That's a big part of it. Like during COVID, they have the incredible acreage, the Headwaters Sanctuary, just off our campus. It's really immersed in a part of our campus, I mean, geographically. And this sanctuary we were able to volunteer at a lot because it's outdoors.
Right.
And we didn't have to go far. So that was really neat because we learned so much about it. And for people who haven't been on our campus, it's got these incredible trails, a great field, the butterfly area. They're building this incredible, like, indigenous grasses section. And it's kind of a gem right in essentially the heart of San Antonio. So we have a beautiful campus. And I think that, I'm happy to talk about it and our academics, our mission, and then the young men we get to coach. They're very impressive, and we're excited about the year. It's coming up.
Small but mighty, definitely.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Well, talk about moving over to the more basketball central side. You mentioned Carroll College. I mean, when you took over that program, it only previous year had 2 wins. When you left, you were 107 and 52 in your 5 years there, fastest in school history to the 100 win total, and as well as 3 straight appearances in the NAIA tournament. So, what was kind of the key in rebuilding that program?
Well, we worked really hard every day to try to develop as players, and you got to get a little lucky. You know, luckily we had incredible uh, students as far as their GPA and their approach to the classroom. We got after it in the community, and we had some young men who were not highly recruited that developed at an incredible rate. Some of them grew a little. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So
Always help when you can go
It's
from
always-
6'7" to 6'10".
yeah, we had a guy or two go an inch or two in college, and we were like, hey, this is great. And they just got a great rhythm. They developed great chemistry. So and it's amazing when you look at it, like 2 of them are wrapping up medical school. One of them's getting their PhD in medicinal chemistry at Purdue. We have a couple dentists. We have, I mean, pretty much any major profession. We've had a law school at Pepperdine. We've had, I mean, it's just kind of jaw dropping to see what some of these guys are doing. We have a farmer.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, we have a little bit of everything. So when I look at the guys like on this year's team at Incarnate Word, like I say, you look at their majors, and it's really exciting to think about the future, the things that they'll do in their lives, the type of young men they're developing into. And like I say, engineer. Dylan Heyman is interested in environmental science and work in the Napa wine fields, perhaps in the agricultural sector. He's from California. Multiple kinesiology majors, like I say, in business. And of course Josh Morgan, who I think he's going to have an incredible career, whatever he ends up in. But my guess is he'll be a dynamic prosecutor.
That would be very, very, very cool. Now, this is your 5th year at UIW. We
Yep.
talked about your 5-year stint there at Carroll College. What do you think is the next step for UIW, and how close do you think you are to regaining some momentum and getting to that point where you were at Carroll College?
Well, this is a huge year for us. We're excited about it. If we can keep everyone on the floor, we think we're going to be markedly improved, but we got to prove that, obviously. Years 2 and 3 here were the first 2 where we had increased our winning percentage year over year, not just 1 year, but 2 in a row. And we felt pretty good about the momentum, but last year was challenging. It was just very challenging. So we have to learn from it. The guys have worked extremely hard. And we're really excited about the season. Like I say, we have 8 returners. We think we learned a lot. The esprit de corps is strong, and we're excited to prove that we have made marked improvement.
Well, you talk about last season, 7 and 25, 3-11 in conference play, but when you said trying to stay on the court, y'all dealt with a lot of injuries, 18 different starting lineups in those 32 games. Just how detrimental were those injuries of not knowing who was going to be in the starting lineup as well as just able to play?
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, we routinely had 4 guys who would probably be playing a significant role not available. So you have to adjust, and it was, but that's in the past. We've been doing everything in our power. A lot of it's luck, but we're doing everything in our power as far as our strength and conditioning coach, athletic training, rest, diet, trying to pace ourselves workout-wise. And then you knock on wood. You hope you get a nod from the gods. And we're excited. Like I say, we can keep this group on the floor. We do think we'll be markedly better, and we'll be longer, more versatile, more switchable, all kinds of things. So we're optimistic, but we also know that talk is cheap right now. We're going to have a chance to prove it here in the coming months.
Right. Well, I was wondering that too. Is like, with all those injuries, do you address them, or do you kind of throw it out the bag and
You
like
just
you
got to
said,
keep
luck.
keep focused on the task at hand in front of you and do what you can with what's in front of you. And that's what our focus is. And plus, it's a new year, so really, we're excited about the prospects. Yeah, obviously, Josh Morgan will play a big role. Uh, Guys like Ben Gristy, who had a fantastic year for a freshman big man coming from Australia. Um, Brandon Swaby, who's in his 5th year, graduate student now, who's just a tenacious player. Um, Dylan Heyman gave us some great minutes last year as well. So we're excited about that. And then, bringing in guys that we think are really going to help us. Devontae Dennis comes off his red shirt from last year. And then guys like Trey Miller, who was the private school player of the year for the state of Texas. Nikki Krause, a 6'6" point guard from Germany. Stephon Payne, a 6'9" center from Florida. There's all kinds of players who have really shown that they can help us and have a lot of talent, and we're excited to play other people. After a while, we've been practicing against each other for a long time, so now we're excited. Sunday we'll have a close scrimmage, and then a week from this Monday we play North Dakota at home at 7:30. So we're hoping all the Incarnate Word Cardinals out there will come out and join us.
Definitely. And you kind of talked about those returners. You got 8 returners. But when I also look at the roster, you've got a very young roster. You've got only 4 upperclassmen. But like we said, a lot of freshmen that were on the team last year got a lot of playing time. So although it's a young team, it's a very experienced team. Is that a good thing? Because, with young players, you can kind of let them loose, but also they have the experience of seeing what it's like and not being caught off guard for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it, like, we're not as young as it might seem at first glance. I probably forgot to mention Charlie Yoder, who he missed 22 games, but when he played, he was fantastic.
Right.
So obviously, we're hoping he can play all the games. That would be awesome. But like, he's a third-year guy, even though he's a sophomore. Or like Josh Morgan's a third-year guy, but he only counts as a sophomore because the COVID year doesn't really count against you. So Brandon Swaby's a 5th-year guy. Jonathan Cece from who's a new player, but he's a 4th-year guy because he counts as a junior, but it's his 4th year. So we're not as we're not as young as it seems, because that COVID year is kind of goofy when you're assessing what year a guy is. But we are still a little young, and we're definitely going to have. I think we're going to have some nice contributions from our newcomers too. So that'll be exciting.
And some of those newcomers come through the transfer portal, go get a couple of junior college guys as well as a guy from Hofstra. How big was it going into this transfer portal and getting guys like that with, how it's an ever-changing game with this transfer portal?
Yeah, it is. We got a young man from Portugal, Andre Cruz, who had a fantastic FIBA tournament at the European Under-20s this summer. He played at Western Wyoming Junior College as a freshman. Really excited about him. Jonathan Cece, as I say, it's really his 4th year now, coming from a national junior college, Indian River in Florida. And so I think those guys are going to have big roles, or they're going to be able to help us in a lot of different ways. And then we also have incoming freshmen that we think are going to help us. You look at a guy like Nikki Krause, he's a little bit older because he had a kind of a gap year where he played Pro B-ball in Germany but didn't take a wage. So he's a freshman, but he's a really experienced basketball player. So, we like like I say, we like the possibility, and we're excited to get started here soon. It's like 12 days.
I know.
Kind of hard to believe.
It's coming down to the wire quickly, and obviously we had Southland Conference Media Days the other day. They said they came out with the preseason poll, projected 10th by the media. What are your expectations? I know the media might not kind of look at the roster and not expect much from this UIW crew, but what do you kind of expect watching practice during the fall?
Well, like I say, I think we're going to be notably improved. So until we prove it, it's all talk. I think like maybe 7 of the last 9 years we've beaten what we were predicted to finish uh, in the preseason. So I hope we can do that again. But we like I say, right now we gotta just focus on getting better every day, and then we can play with a chip on our shoulder to try to prove people wrong. And that's what we're gonna be. We're just gonna be focused on getting better and becoming the best unit we can become, and see where it falls.
Is there a lot of added motivation because of what the media says, and does the team kind of know where they rank right now, and are they
Yeah,
paying
they'll be
attention?
motivated. Yeah, they're competitors. So, uh, we have to, like I said, we have to go out and prove it. Right now, this time of year, talk doesn't have a ton of value. So, it's really just exciting because you can feel the game's coming. You get the anticipation, and it's kind of like maybe before a cross country race where you get the butterflies, but this is like 2 weeks of that. So by
But
that by the time 2 weeks is up, you're ready to play. You're like, oh, okay, I've been waiting a long time. Let's go.
you're ready for this talking season to be done and
Yeah,
just
let's
have the
go.
ball tipped up and let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. And so when we watch this team, I see a lot of good things, both offensive and defensively. Offensively, y'all can really shoot the ball, ranking 30th in the NCAA in field goal or 3-point field goal percentage at 37.4%. What gives y'all that ability to shoot it so well from behind the arc?
And what's cool also is they were 12th in the nation in free throw shooting, and a few years before that, we were first in the nation. So that's cool. And I think
Got to make those,
you got to
they're
make
free.
those. Yeah, they're freebies. I don't know. They're talented young men. We try to put them in good positions. So it was, we finished 3-4 or something in our last 7, and a lot of it was because we really our shooting really even went to another level, and I think we were able to develop some chemistry because we had an idea of who was available. We had been missing a lot of players. So once you can get a rhythm going like that and you've got multiple shooters on the floor, then your percentages can start going up. But you got to have a willingness to share too. And our guys do. Like when we go to practice and at these workouts, it's very clear that they like to share and they're hunting a good shot. And that's fun to coach, and it picks up the energy of the group when people are bought in like that.
Now, on the flip side, one thing I've seen that y'all have struggled with is just rebounding.
Yes.
I mean, almost a 6 rebound deficit over last year. Is that more of, when I looked at size, y'all are about a little smaller on the guard end and about average with the forwards. Is it more of a size disadvantage, or is it more of just like hustle and
Well,
getting outworked?
we ended up starting some very small lineups last year, which we would have, obviously in an ideal world, we had everyone available, we would have started a lot bigger lineups.
Right.
So a lot of it is size, but we're extremely focused on technique and mental discipline. So it's been a huge point of emphasis, taking care of the rock and securing the board. So it's something that we've really emphasized in this off season, and we're excited, like I say, to prove that we are better in those areas, and we are longer. Like if you look at again with the full complement of players available, we're going to be much longer, so that'll be nice.
And now we're just going right into the first game versus North Dakota, November 7th. What do you want to see not only in that first game, but as well as the entire non-conference?
Well, we got a lot of fun matchups. So North Dakota is a very motion-oriented team. They can shoot the ball well. So we just want to see, obviously, great effort, execution, and a high degree of sharing the apple. We go to UNLV for our second game, and that'll be our first opportunity for this group to test itself in a difficult road environment. And then, if you look at our schedule, we're playing some local teams. We're in USTA's MTE. We'll play Dartmouth and USTA and Grambling there. Going to Kansas State. We're playing Florida International, Bethune-Cookman at home. Going to Valparaiso. So we're going to be in a lot of different environments, a lot of different styles, and we just want to get better every week. And develop our chemistry, and then prepare us for the gauntlet that is the Southland. It's going to be a competitive battle, very fierce.
If you were to come out of non-conference play with a goal in mind and review it, how would you view a successful non-conference slate? Maybe outside of, obviously you want to win every game.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Going 15-0 right going into Southland Conference play would be great.
When you're heading into the conference season, you want to feel that you have a good rhythm. That you have your chemistry is tight, your energy is up, your competitive fire is there, and that you're playing with a purpose together. So, the sum of the individual parts is greater than just each player. And if you can get to that kind of magic level, as my Hall of Fame coach at Purdue used to call it, then you're going to be, doing some cool things on the floor. And so that's what we want to feel and sense from the team.
And the last question before I let you go, I've seen a lot of pictures of what you wear on game days, and it's almost like a sweater coat, and I see obviously you got some drip right now. So what is the inspiration behind the sweater coat?
Oh, well,
I know you're from the Hoosier State, and so it gets pretty cold up there, but
yes, well, that's a big part of it, actually, because when I coached high school, I would wear a sweater a lot in the winter, but also John Wooden wore a lot of sweaters, and he went to Purdue. And, there's only maybe 4 or 5. Well, this is probably overhyping, but there's only a couple. I like that I went to Purdue. John Wooden went to Purdue. We were both 2-time academic All-Americans, which is really cool because there aren't that many in Purdue's history. And then when we beat number 1 Arizona, John Wooden handed me the Wooden Trophy. That was really cool.
That is pretty cool.
And then when I was writing American Hoops, which the University of Nebraska Press published, it's a history of Olympic basketball. My daughter there, she's 17 now, but she was only 1, I think, at the time. But we had breakfast with John Wooden, and my wife did, in Los Angeles, West Hollywood, basically.
Right.
And he sat there and talked to us for a couple hours. I interviewed him about his career, and he talked to me about his time at Purdue, his life, the great lessons he learned from his dad. And of course, he played with my daughter. He loved messing around with her, and we had a great breakfast. So he's like a big idol of mine. So I figure, well, he wears a sweater. I can wear a sweater. Plus, it gives me a little flexibility. Like if you wear a suit coat, you worry you're going to rip it. So,
well, me being an Aggie, I see our coach now, Buzz Williams, he's got the suit and he's
got to take it off, right?
And then then you see his sweater
he's got the
coat
sweater vest,
he's
right?
got he's got a vest under it too, and sometimes he takes that off
oh,
too.
Really? That's sharp though. I like that's sharp. So but obviously. This is a fun, exciting time of year. So anybody watching, I hope you can come out November 7th, play at home, 7:30 p.m. Got a lot of cool home games, like I say. Local teams.
UTSA's at home, isn't it?
No, MT is at USTA.
Okay.
But, hey, come to that. as I say, Dartmouth and Grambling will be in that. And it's a neat group of young men. Like you look at the things they're going to do in the future based on how they're operating right now, and it's really exciting. Very grateful to be able to coach here and with them, and word up.
Yeah, word up. Coach Carson Cunningham, thank you very much for spending some time with
Absolutely.
us. I mean, the doctor of hoops in the house. I can't say too much. So, Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening here at Broadway 50/50 or there on the live stream. We'll be back next week.